Today on the Travel Magazine, a trip to Puebla in Coatepec, Mexico. Puebla is a city equally famous for the architecture of its many buildings as the colorful Talavera tiles adorning them. We'll take a look inside a workshop that creates those signature pieces of art to see how Talavera pottery and tiles are made. Then we'll take you through the labor-intensive stages that go into perfecting this craft. Later, we'll visit the Artists' Neighborhood, a chance to see dozens of local artists as they work in their street-side studios. 500 years ago, Franciscan monks were in search of an area to settle their Mexican colony. Legend has it that angels appeared in their dream and told them to build it right here, calling it Puebla, City of Angels. Hello, I'm Sandra Neal. Welcome to this edition of the Travel Magazine and the reverent city of Puebla. Also on the Travel Magazine, we'll take a journey into the coffee plantation town of Coatepec, one of the last authentic towns in the country, maintaining the feel of old Mexico. While in Coatepec, we'll visit the elegant and intimate Hotel Posada, which was once a warehouse for storing coffee.
Hola, bienvenidos a Puebla.
Bienvenidos a Puebla.
Bienvenidos a Puebla.
Puebla is located 120 kilometers east of Mexico City. It's the capital of the state of Puebla. Founded in 1531, the city is situated in a wide valley between two of the largest volcanoes in Mexico. One of the most striking features of the city is its churches. There are so many that Puebla is known as the City of 99 Churches. The Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception is the most prominent. Construction began in 1575 and took 74 years to complete. The cathedral boasts the tallest towers of any Mexican church, each over 70 meters high. Surrounding the building are more than 50 statues of angels sitting atop the gates of the Immaculate Conception's property. With its raised ceilings, the interior is the pinnacle of skilled craftsmanship. You can notice it in the intricate carvings of the wooden altar, with its many statues and minute details. With a church seemingly on nearly every block in Puebla, you don't have to walk very far from the cathedral to visit another beautiful one. Close by is Santo Domingo Church. Predominantly smaller than the Immaculate Conception Cathedral, Santo Domingo's design is still an overwhelming sight. Inside, there's a spectacular hand-carved wooden altar. The pictures adorning the altar are painted or finely carved, each with a story to tell, inspired by the scriptures found in the Bible. Also displayed on the altar, 18 wooden statues depicting different religious icons. At the other end of the church, you'll find an elegant hand-carved nave. It's covered in gold leaf. The eye-catching bright red exterior of the church pales in comparison to the impressive craftsmanship found within its walls. Not all buildings in Puebla have a coat of bright paint. Tiles cover buildings and monuments throughout the city. It's easy to see why this is one of the most famous statues in Mexico. A closer look reveals that thousands of intricate tiles were used to cover the statue of this young woman. Let's head back over to the Old Town and take a look at some more tiled buildings you won't want to miss. This well-known structure spanning a block is the Sugar Cake House, named by the locals who thought that the white trim looked like icing sugar. The Sugar Cake House is now a state museum. A close walk away, there's another beautiful building covered in tiles. It's called the House of the Dolls, so named because of all the white tiled pictures of people decorating its walls. The house was originally intended to be much taller, but the owner wasn't permitted to build the house as planned. That's because it would have been higher than the neighboring government palace. So the owner compromised by keeping his house the same height as the palace. Souvenir-sized examples of Talavera tiles and pottery that you can buy are found throughout the city. and you'll have a tough time choosing. In Puebla, you'll find tiles everywhere, on the city walls, on the domed cathedrals. And what makes this city so authentic is the fact that they're still creating the same ceramic motifs as they did a century ago. The production of Talavera tiles is Puebla's oldest and most distinguished tradition. And this was one of the first workshops, called Uriarte Talavera, founded by Dimas Uriarte. The history of the art began with the early Mexicans, who had already developed their own style of pottery. With the arrival of the Spanish in the 16th century, came the art of glazing fire-baked clay. The two techniques merged, resulting in what is now called Talavera pottery. The distinct style shows influences not only from Spain and Mexico, but Italy, Arabia, and China. The fusion of these influences makes Talavera pottery so unique. In the state of Puebla, only 4 regions are officially recognized as authentic producers of Talavera pottery. Of these regions, Puebla's Uriarte workshop is the most respected. This respect has been earned through a long history of maintaining their earliest traditions, hand-taught and passed down from generation to generation. Close by in the city's schoolyards, some of the next generation of Talavera artists can be found. And one day, these boys and girls may grow up to carry on the 150-year-old art. The process of turning clay into a work of art begins by hand. 2 different types of clay are first mixed, strained, and then left to dry. For the final step, the clay is kneaded so it can be modeled. The modeling process is also done by hand. The region's best pottery artists, all well trained in the skills of modeling, can be found here in Uriarte's workshop, where precision and patience are needed to oversee this labor-intensive process from beginning to end. When we return to the travel magazine, we'll see what further steps are needed to turn these pieces of clay into pottery in the Talavera tradition. And later, we'll visit the artist's neighborhood to catch some oil painting in progress. The tranquility of the town of Coatepec and Hotel Posada attracts celebrities as well as local dignitaries, but everyone can appreciate the peacefulness and charm of this area. You also won't want to miss our tour of the coffee town Coatepec, coming up on the Travel Magazine. Welcome back to the Travel Magazine and the Valley City of Puebla, Mexico, a place so well known for its many churches and cathedrals that it's earned the nickname City of 99 Churches. But Puebla is perhaps best known for Talavera pottery and tiles, and we continue to watch the process at Uriarte Workshop. The factory still houses the original oven, no longer in use. It was made entirely of brick and gave off 1,100 degrees of heat. It stands more than 20 feet tall. Once the piece has been modeled, the clay is left to dry on these wooden shelves for 8 to 12 weeks. The next stage is the firing of the clay that turns the piece into the recognizable reddish-brown color. The ovens used to bake the clay reach temperatures of over 850 degrees Celsius. Then comes the glazing. Pieces are all hand-dipped into earthenware glaze, giving the pottery the color and shine that emerges after the second firing. Once all these steps are completed, the pieces are ready to be stenciled. And after the designs are in place, they have to be outlined in black paint. With this accomplished, the patterns are ready to be painted. Concentration is key so that mistakes won't render the previous work in vain. With Uriarte's reputation, they have to make sure every piece lives up to the public's expectations. The painting of the pottery is a painstaking process requiring the artist to stay within the lines. Paints used come from natural mineral bases, creating Talavera pottery's distinct colors. The brushes used today are made of mule hair, just like when the factory was originally opened. This is one of the few industries in the world that hasn't been affected by time or technology. Over the years, the company has worked hard to ensure the techniques still employed at Uriarte are the ones first implemented by its founder, Dimas Uriarte, more than a century ago. This is the final product, but whether it's a 6-foot pot or a tiny tequila glass, 3 days of handiwork have gone into every piece of ceramic. This serene location is called the Artist's Neighborhood, a row of studios and galleries featuring the works of local artisans. Another focal point of the neighborhood is this decorative fountain. The sound of flowing water adds to the relaxed atmosphere. Here you can wander about from studio to studio, watching artists and sculptors as they work. This is where locals and tourists come to relax and enjoy the surroundings. For many, watching over the shoulders of the artists working in this tranquil square makes Artist's Neighborhood the best spot in town. Small shops across from the studios also carry some of the artists' work for sale. Not just a city of many churches, Puebla is also a city of fountains. To the Mexican people, fountains are used for more than just decoration. It's where people come to meet and socialize, though some come just to relax and wind down at the end of the day. When sitting near one of Puebla's fountains, life seems to move just a little bit slower than in the rest of the city. Across the street from the Uriarte factory is Puebla's food market. It has everything from freshly baked bread to fruits and vegetables, and butchers selling a variety of meats each day, always trimmed and cut by hand. Some vendors turn meats into savory local dishes cooked on the spot. Meatballs simmer in the traditional style, and at this shop, they make a popular sandwich with fried chicken and sliced avocados served on a fresh bun. Puebla's popular cuisine alone is worth making the trip to the city. Oh, and while you're there, make sure to take a ride in one of the thousands of Volkswagen Beetle taxis. When the travel magazine returns, we'll experience the country charm of Coatepec, a small town where we visit a beautifully restored and elegant villa. We'll also get a taste of some of the local specialties served up in the town square. Welcome back to the Travel Magazine. In the heart of Mexico's coffee region is a charming little town by the name of Coatepec, 1,500 feet above sea level. It's a welcome relief from Mexico's heat. The town even makes its own ice cream, and everywhere you'll find the flavor of old Mexico. Nestled in a small valley surrounded by coffee plantations, Coatepec has a population of 10,000, but somehow this charming little town feels smaller. Coatepec wasn't always quiet and laid back. It used to be a stopover for caravans traveling between Mexico City and Veracruz during the 18th century. And the colonial era figures predominantly in the influence of the town's buildings. Vibrant colors covering many of the homes give Coatepec the look of a traditional Mexican town. More bright colors can be seen on one of the town's churches, the Virgin Lady of Guadalupe, the patron saint of Mexico. The church's high ceiling is patterned, and the trim around the walls and pillars, as well as the objects on display, are all covered in gold leaf. The church is still the focal point of the community, with regular services and weddings held every Saturday well into the evening. Neoclassical in style, the exterior of the church is a vivid orange with brown trim. It makes a stunning background for wedding photos. The main road leading into town is on a hill, and it's here where you'll get the most picturesque look at Coatepec with its colorful buildings and quiet streets. The interior of this church, the only other one in town, isn't as vibrant in its use of color as the Virgin Lady of Guadalupe, but its pale white and cool blue walls still attract plenty of worshipers on Sunday mornings. Like Puebla, the town of Coatepec revolves around its main square, or Zocalo. It's right across from the city hall. Known as the Parque Hidalgo, the Zocalo is where the town comes to chat, eat, and relax. Some of the square's specialties are ice cream. Vendors also cook up fried bananas and corn, available on the cob or in a cup, served with a bit of melted butter. Mexicans of all ages come to visit the square, whether in a small town or a large city. Near Coatepec's main square is the very elegant Hotel Posada. Now, back in the 1880s, this was the working hacienda of the present owner's grandfather. In fact, the two rooms behind me are now a restaurant, but that's where the grandfather was born. He was a coffee plantation owner, and the coffee was actually stored in this hacienda. Today, the 23 rooms are named after the present owner's favorite places. The names of the rooms include Tokyo, Las Vegas, and Brazil. Most of the rooms are accessible through a courtyard filled with local flowers and trees. This is the hotel's beautiful dining room that originally served as a warehouse for storing coffee beans. Looking around at the decor, it's difficult to visualize what this room must have looked like before the restoration. The transformation from plantation to hotel was done one room at a time. Great pains were taken to ensure that the style was kept traditionally Mexican. Every corner and detail of this 18th century colonial home is part of the designer's dream, including this beautiful courtyard, a perfect place for a good old-fashioned Mexican siesta. It's hard to imagine that in this beautiful courtyard, there once was a chicken coop. But now, thanks to the owner's son's vision, it's been transformed into a beautiful tiled pool. This kind of luxury isn't found in every small town in Mexico. But this hotel's stunning beauty and relaxed atmosphere makes the trip to Coatepec well worth the journey. From the spectacular pool that was once a chicken coop, Cousteau's vision continued by transforming an acre of the hacienda's grounds into a miniature paradise, complete with a two-story villa. Amidst the coffee plants and lemon and banana trees is the villa, formerly the owner's residence. Its outstanding features include iron balconies and a tile picture set in the middle of the stucco wall in a simple wooden frame. The domed roofs of the Guadalupe Church peek out from behind the villa, adding to the feeling that you've stepped back in time. In Inside the hotel, tiled floors and leather furniture mix with open-air seating rooms and lush vegetation. At the top of these stairs, a beautiful stained glass window created by a local artist beckons you to take a stroll in the gardens. The elegance and craftsmanship of the villa continues on the second floor, where you have two spectacular balconies overlooking the grounds. It's hard to imagine staying indoors on a warm day with grounds like these. But if you're going to, Hotel Posada's rooms are the picture of luxury. Each room is completely different from the next, but all are decorated in the traditional Mexican style. And the bathrooms are almost as spacious as the bedrooms. The hotel is a quiet and beautiful retreat where you can experience the peaceful side of Mexico. From the rooms to the grounds, it's obvious that no expense has been spared. It's all part of one family's dream to keep its beloved Coatepec as charming and traditional as it was back in colonial times. Well, that's it for this edition of the Travel Magazine. I'm Sandra Neal. Join us again as we travel the world.